The information given on this program is not, nor is it intended to be legal advice. You should consult an attorney for individual advice regarding your own situation. Legal Help Live is brought to you by Pan's Restaurant and Coffee Shop at 6710 La Tierra Boulevard in Los Angeles. Barney's Beanery at 8447 Santa Monica Boulevard in Hollywood. iLearnFast.com, a division of CityCom, and Rodolfo Buonacorte at www.rodolfobuonacorte.com.
Okay, everybody, it's time for Legal Help Live. Ralph here, Steve there. We're the Legal Help Live team. Call us to ask a legal question and get a legal answer. And the number is 1-800-405-4222. That's the telephone number. It's toll-free. Call, ask that legal question, get a legal answer, and want to...
You know, this is a legal show, and the significance of the number with the 405, that's the broken freeway.
The broken freeway.
Broken freeway in Los Angeles that never works.
It's not just a freeway, it's the dividing line between the west side of Los Angeles and the entire rest of the world that you can't access.
It's probably the worst example of Caltrans ever built in their entire career.
How unique is it? I agree. How unique is a freeway that not only can you not go on and move once you're on it, you can't even get across it when you're trying to get from one end of town to the other.
And in the meantime, in their infinite wisdom, they're closing it down.
I know.
And blowing things up or whatever they're doing.
Yes.
1-800-405-4222. And we're asking for callers about legal problems. We'll handle your legal problems from immigration, from the DREAM Act. Should the governor sign recent legislation? Should your nanny be getting certain kind of wages? Can she turn you in if she doesn't get rest breaks or 15 minutes? What do we do with fat people in America?
That's a very good question.
Yeah, are fat people discriminated against? We're going to talk about that.
How about this? Should people be allowed to sue a spouse for providing too little sex during a long marriage?
Yes.
Well, wait a second. Let's define it.
I'm a defendant!
You want to be a plaintiff or a defendant?
You know.
How about if we take some phone calls?
Wait.
Yes?
We'll have to talk about sex and marriage. Sex and marriage.
How about or?
Go together like
sometimes.
A horse and carriage.
Sometimes.
And we're going to talk about the Amish who went to jail because they didn't have a proper sign on the back of their buggy, and some judge sent a bunch of them to jail.
So how about this? In Fullerton, some people were given citations for honking their horns too loud.
Well, in Fullerton, they're all going to jail.
Unfortunately.
Okay, let's go to the phones.
Let's do that. Jorge.
Come on in to Legal Help Live. You're talking to Ralph and Steve, and how can we help you?
Hey, guys. Great show, and I agree the
There was?
405 is
I'll bet there
terrible.
was.
Jorge!
I got a question for you.
There you go.
I was one of the
Jorge,
.com
you on the
guys.
line?
I had a really successful
Well, I guess
startup
Jorge,
company,
when you
and
can call
I was
back, I
making
guess we
about
cut him out. He was
$1
on
million
a
bucks a year.
405 freeway and moving in a dead spot.
last
So
year,
That's a
I got
tough
a
one.
divorce.
let's talk about
Let's do that.
Let's talk about fat people.
You start.
You know, do you think there's a bias, and should people who are overweight, no matter what your weight is, be able to sue because they're discriminated against? For instance, do you think that if two people show up for a job and one of them is drop dead gorgeous,
I want that one.
a model, and the other one is a little overweight,
What's the job?
and it's a male employer looking for a female receptionist.
But what's
Who do you think would get the job
as a receptionist?
as a receptionist? Assume they can both speak
Can
equally.
I add just a little bit? The person who's overweight has the most wonderful telephone voice, and the person who's drop-dead gorgeous kind of squeaks along.
Who do you think still would get the job?
I'm going to go with the squeak.
I bet you that's probably right. Is that discrimination?
It may be.
Don't you think that fat people are discriminated against? And shouldn't it be cognizable in the law? What about movies or television? How many overweight people that are not doing commercials for the gastric bands, etc., but how many are on television?
Well,
how many are on radio? How many of them?
Well, wait,
yeah,
radio?
They might be on radio. How many of them are in the movies?
That's an interesting question, because there are parts that call for overweight people.
How many people who go on an airline, try and get on an airline, can't fit in the seat, and they want to charge them for two seats?
I learned something. When you don't have assigned seats, and you get on the airplane, and it's going to be full, so that all 3 seats in a 6 across are going to be full, sit and you find people who are against the window, sit next to somebody who's huge, whether they're fat or not, I don't care, but if they're really, really big and they're sitting against the window, you sit in the aisle. No one will sit in the middle seat.
Okay.
That's my empirical study.
In most airlines, the huge person, they will charge them for 2 seats.
That could be.
Isn't that discrimination?
It could be.
What about toilet seats in public restrooms? And if you're big, you can't sit on them. You can't fit in. It used to be phone booths. They're not there anymore.
Yeah, phone booths are gone. Eliminated that problem.
What about restaurants, where the booths are made for not people who are copious? Copious? What's the word? What's the
corpulent? No, that's not it either.
No.
Corpulent.
Corpulent.
Corpulent is the thing I want to talk about. From
There's a lawsuit, by the way. An oversized man is suing White Castle over the size of the seats.
Well,
Because
that's
a 290-pound man is steaming mad at White Castle's fast food chain, which he claims repeatedly broke promises to make the booths fit in his local eatery. And he's uncomfortable. And therefore he is suing White Castle because it violates the civil rights of fat people.
Interesting. How far along is the lawsuit?
He's trying to get out of the booth to file it. It's been filed. So it's an interesting area. For those of you of any size out there, whether you think fat people are getting discriminated against, or whether or not there's such a concept of fat people, whether we ought to be even referring to them, we're glad to take your questions.
Well, a couple of weeks ago we talked about the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Right on.
And ugly people. The 2% of the population who the other 98% think are ugly. They don't get the jobs. They don't marry the right people. Sometimes they don't get into schools. And there's a general discrimination against that as well.
And for those of you out there who are interested in the whole areas of discrimination, there's a website called mybossStinks.com, and on that website is a lot of information about various types of discrimination. It's called mybossStinks.com.
That could be interesting.
Now I'm hearing Wolf in my ear, and let's try and get Jorge back on. Jorge, how you doing?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hi,
Can you hear
Jorge.
me?
Well,
hey, now this isn't like that movie with Jimmy Stewart with the big rabbit.
Jorge, are you there?
Guys, yeah, I am here. Can you hear me? I can hear you.
Now I've got a lot of. We're not doing this show.
See, only Jimmy Stewart could see Harvey the rabbit.
So we got a technical person here today.
Maybe only Wolf
helping
can
us
see
out.
Harvey.
Yeah.
I mean Jorge.
Okay. Well, I don't know how many people are calling in because we seem to have a little communication gap. But somebody give us the finger when they decide when we can
1,
talk.
2, 3.
Yeah,
however
we
many
can talk
lines
to
we
people.
got.
So.
Well, in the meantime, this actually happened. This was in southern France. This was just earlier this week. I'll read from the French newspaper translation.
Are you sure Jorge's back?
Wolf says Jorge's back, but I think he's like Jimmy Stewart in the movie. Wolf, are you like Jimmy Stewart in the movie?
Jorge, have you come back?
Can you hear me? I'm here. I hear you.
Oh, you are coming in loud and clear.
We thought you were like
Great.
Harvey the Rabbit, and only Wolf could see and hear you.
All right, well, I'm playing games with you guys. I am here, and I agree with your comment about the 405. That place is terrible. I hate it.
Isn't it horrible?
So, all right, guys. I got a divorce last year in June and I was making at that time quite a bit of money. I was involved in the .com businesses, and I was making around $1 million a year.
I'll marry you.
Well, yeah. Hey, get in line.
So here's the problem. So I was making that much money back then, okay?
And now you're
but
calling in for
around
free
December,
legal advice.
After things fell apart for me, basically my businesses went down the drain, and I'm down to making almost nothing right now. But I'm stuck with an alimony payment of $60,000 and some change, and I am wondering what in the world I can do to get that thing reduced, because I am not making anywhere near as much as I was making a few months back.
By the way, your marriage proposal is rejected.
Why is that?
So you're paying no child support? There are no children?
No children.
So this charming young lady marries you. How long were you married?
We were married for 9 years.
Okay, so you basically took her glamour and beauty away from her, and then you broke up, and you're paying $60,000 a month or a year?
Correct, a month.
A month? Oh my God. Oh, well, there's a thing in the law called change of circumstances. And when there's a change, and in a divorce proceedings, the court retains jurisdiction to modify support decrees. If you don't pay the money, they can issue contempt orders. They can throw you into jail.
Right. There's reference over to the district attorney's office.
They can seize all your assets. They can do all kinds of stuff. But when there's a change of circumstances, did this happen in California?
It did.
You can go.
And my income at the time was varying between. I mean, at the bare minimum, it was $1 million, but it was usually quite a bit above that.
All right. Well,
a few million in a good year.
Okay.
So anyway, that's what the alimony was set at.
Assuming you don't have 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or $100 million in the bank. If you have a lot of money in the bank in stocks and bonds and investments, etc., and you're getting income off it, or there's a lot of money there, then they could force you to pay support based on the income you're getting from your investments. But if you just were getting a lot of money and you were, and you've lost your Ferrari and your house and your mistress and all the other little toys that you were playing with, and you're left almost penniless, or making very little money, you can go in and make a motion to modify your support based on change of circumstances. Now, then it's it will be discretionary with the court, but they'll look at the and they've got all kinds of machinery now that runs all this stuff and basically says what you ought to pay, but you have an opportunity to modify, and you should have been doing that 6 or 7 or 8 months ago.
Yeah.
Is this something that I need a lawyer to do? I mean, my lawyer was charging me a lot of money. I don't even want to say it. So, do I need a lawyer to get this done?
Well, I would suggest that if you possibly could afford a lawyer, ultimately you're going to save a lot of money if you can. If you can't, you can't. But you've got to get yourself back into court.
Here's your problem. For every month that you don't do something, you will owe her $60,000. So if you goof around for 3 months, that's $180,000. What I want you to do now is take a deep breath and relax a minute. We'll come back to you because we got to go to break now.
Yeah.
This is Legal Help Live, and we're going to go to break to pay a few bills.
You've got to do that. Jorge, we'll be talking to you. You called us at 1-800-405-4222. And while we're on break, that's a good time for somebody else to call. And by the way, we didn't say this at the beginning. And Jorge, this is for you and everybody else who calls today. A gift certificate for dinner for 2 for everybody who gets in this program, asks a legal question, gets a legal answer.
Well,
it's our gift to you because summer's like.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get my cell phone in a break, and I'm going to call in because I missed a few meals here and there.
Okay, think of a good question.
Let's go to break.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned for more Legal Help Live.
Giving a little can mean a lot to people who are hungry and homeless. Victims of domestic violence need help every day.
I'm here to volunteer.
Together, we can do it. If you do one thing, take one step to help those who need it the most in your community, you just might find that you can bring a smile to those who need it the most. Share your caring at opcc.org.
Looking for something to do this week? You could visit the California Heritage Museum. The museum is open every Wednesday through Sunday, 11 a.m. till 4. Stop by and catch our latest exhibit, find unusual gifts in the museum shop, and picnic on the lawn. We're a block from the beach at Ocean Park Boulevard and Main Street in Santa Monica. The California Heritage Museum. Discover us.
When I grow up, I want to help animals. When I grow up, I want to help animals. When I grow up, I want to help animals.
Tom is my brother. He always made me laugh.
Tom is my firstborn. I taught him how to drive.
Tom is my son. At 20, he was diagnosed with schizophrenia. The illness took him to the street and we feared we'd lost him forever.
But I got help from Step Up on Second, and today I have a home. And my friends and family are back in my life.
Step Up on Second, rebuilding lives one step at a time.
Okay,
So
we're back.
So you're making $1 million to $2 million a year.
Right.
You're a highfly.com business.
Right.
You get a divorce for a woman that you lived with for 9 years.
And then?
She's getting $60,000 a month alimony.
And then?
And then the next thing is things happen to you and you're calling Legal Help Live for advice and you're making zip.
Correct.
And the question that Jorge had.
Making zip, but he's still obligated to pay
$60,000 a month. So
Right.
Jorge, the answer to your question is, I think you'd be a darn fool if you don't get a lawyer, because you're racking up $60,000 of back stuff. I think like modifying the alimony and doing it yourself would sort of like doing orthopedic surgery yourself. I don't think I'd do it. You know, anybody can technically represent yourself, but with this much involved, I think I would get myself a good lawyer, borrow the money, do whatever you got to do, and in this case, do it.
Yeah, ultimately it's going to be a lot more expensive if you don't get a lawyer and you don't take care of it, and I would start now, as soon as you hang up.
Okay.
All right, well, good luck, and the next time you want to peddle some .com stock, my partner here has bought a few bridges and a few other things out there.
And if you start making $1 million or $2 million a year again and you think about that marriage proposal again, call us.
Don't.
All right, guys, take it easy.
Prenuptial agreement.
Yeah.
Prenuptial agreement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks a
I learned
lot.
my lesson.
Thanks a lot for calling Legal Help Live, Jorge. Good call. Interesting question.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, and going along on the quote alimony and child support situation, what do you do if you're an NBA basketball player?
Dribble.
Dribble and shoot. But there is no season.
Yes.
So
you might not be making a lot of money.
They're locked out.
Right.
And they don't have jobs.
Endorsements, maybe.
They're probably not going to have much endorsements when there's no season.
Nope.
And now these gentlemen, because all the money's in the gentleman's field,
right,
not in the female field, we're making, $12,000, $10,000, $40,000, you name it, and a lot of them are divorced.
Some of them
four or five times.
Yeah.
And they've got all these massive support orders. So is this strike really trying to get in the face of the women, and it's really a ploy to get them out of their support, or is it really about basketball? Interesting question.
I think it's about money.
So
I think it's about money and paying basketball players.
Well.
So if you want to call us, here's what you do. It's really pretty simple. Call 1-800-405-4222. That's a toll-free number. Ask that legal question and get a legal answer and get a gift certificate for two at a restaurant of our choosing.
So tell me about your sex in France.
Okay, so this is hot
sex is always good on television.
Off the press, and maybe this wouldn't happen in the United States or in California, but in France, southern France, a judge ordered a 51-year-old man, it's a young guy from where I'm sitting, 51-year-old man to pay his ex-wife the equivalent of $14,000 in damages, quote, for providing too little sex during their 21-year marriage. Is that fair? End quote. Is that fair?
Well, what happens if you marry a nymphomaniac in France and she gives you too much sex?
Well,
you
that's
get paid
the thing.
for that
It's
too?
the man was the defendant. She wanted more sex, and he didn't perform well enough for her.
But what if he wanted more sex or she wanted so much sex? Does it go both ways?
I would assume that the court's thinking wouldn't distinguish between sexes, but that the spouse not getting enough sex could be a successful plaintiff against the defendant who didn't provide enough sex.
Now, I know the State Department will claim that we're violating
some treaty somewhere?
Some treaty or something, but isn't extramarital sex the norm, at least in the French movies?
Oh.
So did the judge look outside the record and see whether or not the man was having an affair? And does that count in the sex? Do you add both women together? Is that the national norm?
I think that's an extremely good question, and it's a question that probably should be asked, but I don't think that was the fact in this case. The ex-husband, according to this story out of France, the ex-husband claimed his lovemaking was lacking, he admitted it, because he was tired and had health problems. Maybe he just didn't want to admit to having 3 or 4 affairs every day.
Well, what do you think out there? At least a fourth or a fifth or a half of our audience are married people out there. Do you believe that you should be able to sue your spouse for too little sex? Now, I can see there are 5,000 people on the freeway right now that I'm looking out of these windows, and I can see their hands up. I also see there's about 15,000 women on the freeway, and I see their hands up. And Wolf down in the booth's got both hands up. But interesting situation. So those of you who think that you should be able to sue for lack of sex in a marital relationship can indicate us by now putting both hands up.
Yeah.
But please be careful when you're driving.
That's right. And if you are in the car...
I hear the horns honking right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you're in the car and you're on a cell phone, make sure that you've got a Bluetooth or some other arrangement so that you don't get a ticket while you're driving.
The French have 2 things in common, I guess.
Common with whom?
Second-rate wine to California, and based on my hearing, not a lot of sex.
Well, at least in this house, that's too bad.
well.
$14,000 in damages, in the equivalent. Euros, but you know.
Well, you know why it's just 14? Because if he had performed more sex, it would have been bad sex, and it's only worth $14,000.
That's right. I suppose you can get punitive damages if it's really bad.
All right.
In the meantime, Manny Ramirez was a pretty good hitter when he was still playing baseball.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's
Manny Ramirez is the ball player that
he was with the Dodgers for a while.
No,
he came from Boston.
He came from Boston.
Right.
He was a bad boy there.
Yes, he was.
He came here to L.A. and he was a slow bad boy here, although he fits in with the ownership of the team. It looks like.
That's the way it looks like now.
And he was
suspended
quite a hitter for a while.
He was suspended for taking illegal drugs. And then he retired next time he was caught doing the same thing.
In baseball, he was known for his hitting.
He was not a fielder.
No.
He was clearly not a fielder.
He was known for his hitting.
He was known for his hitting.
I mean, that would be hitting the ball.
Yeah. And
so now what is he hitting?
Well, his wife. Here it is in the Los Angeles Times. Former Dodger slugger Manny Ramirez was arrested in Florida on Monday night on suspicion of battering his wife during an argument.
So it's allegedly.
Allegedly. Well, it's allegedly until he pleads guilty. But you know what? Spousal abuse at this level, a hit as opposed to serious bone-breaking injuries, and that happens too, or even worse, it's really difficult to get the spouse to want to prosecute the case later. Now, maybe she's angry now, and maybe she's called the police now, and maybe, for a certainty, Manny was arrested and he bailed out. But I'm not sure she's going to want to prosecute this case when it comes time to charge and bring this case to trial.
Yeah, but does it really matter whether she wants to prosecute or not? Isn't it up to, if this happened in Los Angeles County or in Southern California or in the state of California, in most instances it'd be up to the district attorney's office
to file,
because it's a felony in most cases,
right?
To file and to prosecute the case, and she doesn't have any say-so.
What if she doesn't testify?
Well, can't they prove it by videotape or what she told them?
Well, that's the question. When I was in my 20s and prosecuting
aren't there
cases,
special laws now for spousal abuse?
There are special laws for spousal abuse, but I can promise you that if she doesn't testify, this case doesn't go anywhere.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, I'm certain that that's true. But I can tell you this: when I was in my 20s and prosecuting criminal cases, right here, I did have such a situation. And before trial, the wife calls up and says, "I want my husband back. I don't want to testify." And you know what? The injuries were substantial. There were photographs taken at the hospital, and there were witnesses. I put the case on. She didn't testify, and I got a conviction.
Yeah, the problem with all this is that the spousal abuse syndrome, whether it's a male getting abused or a female, is that the relationship is by dominance, and one person is dominating the other person, and therefore the victim usually is psychologically in such a mess that they'll do anything that the beater does, and that's why they don't leave.
It's very true.
And it's a horrible situation. I'm not saying whether he did it or he didn't do it.
Right.
But the amazing part about it is with TMZ and with all the paparazzi around and with everything going on, how anybody in the public life thinks they can get away with anything. You know, in Southern California, you go to a restaurant, and you know you're walking in, and there are people hiding behind. They're always hiding behind the newspaper racks with cameras or standing there just waiting for something to happen.
I always thought it was me. I always thought they wanted my picture.
They weren't looking for me.
No, but when they see me coming and they realize who it is, they put their cameras down.
You know, there are all kinds of beaters. There are wife beaters, and then what about people in the you know, when you think about people abusing the system, what about people in the tennis business, like Serena Williams, who on national television, what was it, the U.S. Open?
Yeah.
Suddenly
the final
is got this tirade against some tennis judge who's making $250 for judging this contest, and makes a call that she doesn't think is right, and she goes after him like nobody's business. And now for the second time, because she did this before, the next day she says, "Oh, I was in the zone. I don't remember anything about that."
Yeah.
And what do? They fine her $2,000. Come on,
What does that mean in the context of her income for a year?
Nothing. It's absolutely nothing. They're charging us, you know, $500 almost for traffic violations, and she makes millions of dollars a year, and they give her a $2,000 fine. You know, there's no teeth in this. I mean, let's get tough like baseball or football, where they really suspend them and fine them a lot of money. There's no excuse for these kind of tirades. 1-800-405-4222. When we come back, if you're so lucky to get on the air, we'll get you a dinner or two, dinner for two, or tap dancing for two at a restaurant of our choice.
Yep.
This is Legal Help Live.
Yep.
I'm Steve.
I'm Ralph.
This is Ralph. And even though my name is misspelled up on the marquee,
is it really?
It's close enough. It's Stephen Solomon, but it's S-T-E-P-H-E-N. I've only been doing this for 7 years. And
well, they'll get it right. Only 7 years? Come on. They'll get it right next time.
1-800-405-4222.
But look how they spelled Ralph. There's only one way. Okay, we'll see you in a few minutes, and we'll be talking to all of you. We'll see you then.
Stay tuned for more Legal Help Live.
Our doors are open to all at St. Joseph Center, where we provide intervention, prevention, and education services. Our early childhood development centers encourage learning while parents seek work. Families receive food for the week. Case managers counsel seniors, veterans, and families. We also teach job skills to young and old. Experience the joy of helping at St. Joseph Center. We're planting hope, growing lives for all those in need.
A stranger in the phone said I won a sweepstakes, but I was smarter.
Someone tried to open a credit card in my name, but I was smarter.
A friend said I should sign my house over to him, but I was smarter.
The Los Angeles County Department of Consumer Affairs can help you avoid scams and protect your financial well-being. Don't become another victim of fraud. Call the Department of Consumer Affairs and we'll help you be
Smarter Seniors.
Before Christmas, my life was a mess. I was incarcerated, a drug addict, totally confused and didn't have any sense of direction. Some of the things they did is they gave me mock interviews, they assist me with my application. What I'm doing now, I work for a company that gives me a lot of responsibilities, and it's been great. It's been good.
After my service ended, the biggest battle I faced was readjusting to civilian life.
New Directions provides services specifically for women like you who face homelessness, substance abuse, and trauma.
I joined the military to save lives. New Directions helped me save my own.
If you were honorably discharged from the military, you're entitled to veteran services. Go to ndvets.org for help.
Okay, we are back. Ralph here, Steve there. That's S-T-E-P-H-E-N.
Hey, they changed it. You guys are great.
And Ralph is still R-A... No, that's wrong. It's right. It's R-A-L-P-H. Everybody call us at 1-800-405-4222. You call in, you ask a legal question, you get a legal answer, and you get a gift certificate for two for dinner at a restaurant of our choosing.
The only way I knew it was wrong
Yes.
is that this show is webcast all around the world.
Yes.
And some of my friends send me emails going,
There's somebody who looks just like you, but it can't be you because it's
a PH.
Right.
Oh, well. Thanks, guys, for straightening that out. I really appreciate it.
Okay,
all right,
let's go back to the phones.
Why don't we go back to the
Okay. Back to the phones.
Alexandria, come on in and talk to us from the San Fernando Valley.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
How can we help you?
Yes, I just had a question about my record.
Okay, well,
I just got out of prison like 6 years ago, and I was convicted of carjacking. And I was just wondering, is that an expungable offense?
okay, you want to turn off your radio or your TV or something?
Yeah, just talk to us by phone.
It's my fan.
Ah.
It's your what?
The Valley.
My
the
fan, I think.
Oh, okay. There you go. So
we have fans.
Were you convicted in California?
I was, yes.
Was it a felony?
Yes.
And how much time did you spend in prison?
6 years.
Okay, so are you off parole now?
Yes.
And have you gotten busted for something else?
No.
Had you been arrested and convicted for anything before that?
No, it was my first time.
And last?
First and last, yes, most definitely.
A lot of money involved, or drugs, or what?
No, it was just I was 16, I was young and
16?
misguided and just being dumb.
You were 16?
Wait. You didn't get sent to state prison. You got
I did.
You got sent to youth authority at 16.
No, I went to state prison.
Did they charge you and try you as an adult at 16?
Yes.
Well, that's unusual. That sounds like there's more to it than what we're hearing.
What did you take?
A car with a gun. There was a gun involved.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, it was carjacking.
By yourself?
No, with a co-defendant.
And how long did the co-defendant get sentenced for?
Same time.
Okay. Is he
We
out?
got 7 years with 85%.
Is he out now too?
Yes, she's out.
Okay, you're both out. All right. Well, you've got a record. You've got a felony record. It is going to be very, very, very difficult when there's a gun involved to get it reduced down to a misdemeanor. It might be possible.
What Steve's talking about is the following kind of process. Misdemeanors, as opposed to felonies, a misdemeanor can be expunged.
Yes.
If it's a first time and there's other criteria about being off probation, finishing the probation, it's a Penal Code Section 1203.4. It's something that a judge is going to sign. It's not very complicated, but it has to be a misdemeanor as opposed to a felony. Now, a felony can be reduced at various times during the process from felony to misdemeanor.
Okay.
It is procedurally possible, although Steve is saying that this is really uphill, and I agree with him.
Because there's a gun involved.
Right.
Yeah.
But procedurally, technically, it's possible. I didn't say probable, I didn't say likely, but I did say possible that at this point the district attorney can ask the court to reduce this case to a misdemeanor. Once it's reduced to a misdemeanor, then you can have the record expunged.
Oh, okay.
Well, but there's
But
something
that's hard.
There's something else that may be even harder, but there and we read about it all the time for important political figures. There's a thing called a pardon, and this was a state court proceedings in California. This was in this was the DA's office someplace.
What county was it?
Oh, San Fernando Valley.
Okay, so it was you were in the state court. You were in the Van Nuys court out there.
Yes.
Okay. There's a thing called a pardon, and that is the ultimate power of the governor of the state of California, assuming you've done marvelous things afterwards, you've changed people's lives, or you've done something, or you were a battered woman, or there are some kinds of things that there have been a change. The governor can, with his discretion, issue a pardon, and that basically wipes everything else out. That's very, very difficult to get, not impossible. You might want to look into that, and if you get a pardon, then all your rights are restored, and you have no record for any reason. It's totally, the crime is totally wiped out. So your options are trying to get it reduced as a misdemeanor, high level to get to, or get a pardon, probably even a higher level.
And you can try to do both at the same time. You're not, by trying to do one, you're not precluded from trying to do the other.
Are you working now?
I'm a stay-at-home mom of 3 boys.
Wow.
You got a husband?
Uh-huh.
All right. What you might want to do is find yourself a very good criminal lawyer and get a conference with him or her and talk about whether this is the appropriate time to seek one of these things, and then make a determination. Maybe it'll be better 4 years from now if you do X, Y, and Z, and get some professional advice to see how you show that you've been rehabilitated, you've done all kinds of things that would help your lawyer convince a judge or a governor that you're an appropriate person for a pardon. So if it was anybody that I knew or anybody that I talked to generally professionally, I would say go find a very good criminal lawyer. In the San Fernando Valley, there's the San Fernando Bar Association where you can get a referral from. Or if you can't find anybody, you can call the number on the screen during normal working hours, and we'll refer you to a couple of lawyers that will at least give you a consultation. But those are your options I think you've got.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And what was it again? San Fernando Bar Association?
San Fernando Bar Association.
Okay, I'll look into that.
All right, great.
Alexandria, after 5 o'clock today, call that 1-800-405-4222 number and let them know that you're going to get a gift certificate for dinner for 2. They'll need your contact information, okay?
Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you for calling Legal Help Live.
Okay, bye.
All right, we're now leaving San Fernando Valley, and where are we traveling to, Wolf? We're going to go to Canoga.
We're staying in the valley.
We're going to go to Canoga Park, and who's in Canoga Park?
Danielle.
Danielle, you're on Legal Help Live with Ralph and Steve. How can we help you?
I had a question. I wanted to know, I have a situation where currently right now my license is suspended due to several traffic violations with failure to appears and whatnot, spanning from like 2008 till now.
Okay.
That suspended my license. And currently right now I'm a single parent working and trying to go to school, so I need transportation because everything is pretty far away. I'm driving at the time because I have my son he has to get to and from, But I wanted to know, is there any way that I can clear this up? When I checked into it, it amounts to like $10,000 with all the failure to appears and penalties and whatnot, and I don't
Okay.
even make that in a year.
Wow. Well, let's go back for a minute. How many moving violations are we talking about?
I would say from the span of when I called DMV, they said that there's about 6 of them, and they're spanning from 2008.
Okay.
And
Well,
then the most I got last month, I got pulled over for driving on a suspended license,
Okay,
and then they gave me another ticket.
okay. You're at the rate you're going. Let me tell you how you have to clear them up. Okay. You have to go to each court and start from the oldest, and have someone else drive you. Don't drive yourself. Okay. And you go to each court. You have the clerk pull the traffic ticket. You put it on the docket, and you go through each case. And each case you can quote pay a fine, because it sounds to me like if these are all just regular moving violations, even the failure to appear if they're all are they all in LA County?
They're in LA County, and they're all in LA County,
Okay.
yes, and Inglewood, like Inglewood,
Okay.
LA, but it's
They're
all
all-
LA County.
They're all LA County. They're all most probably infractions. An infraction, you can't go to jail. You have to go to each court. You're going to have to either fight it, and if you have defenses, you can get a trial on those, or plead to them and explain to the judge what the financial situation is, and hope that you can get community service, pay some of them, community service on the other ones, and get them cleaned up. It may take you some time, but that will then allow you to clear up your record with DMV.
Steve, she's got some failures to appear as well. Misdemeanor
Failure to
infraction.
appear, though. A lot of them are failure to appear, so
Those are also in LA County, under most circumstances, those will also be handled as infractions, non-jailable offenses. So what you need to do is either hire a lawyer to do all this, or you're going to have to go from court to court to court to get it cleaned up so that you can get a driver's license. If you get a driver's license, then you'll be able to get insurance. It's illegal to drive without a driver's license. It now may well be a misdemeanor you're going to walk yourself into if you're driving with a revoked or suspended license. But again, in most instances, it's treated like an infraction. So you need to stop driving. And you need to get a roadshow together and try and get community service, get these worked out, see if you can get reductions of fines, and get them worked out so you can get your life back together.
Danielle, I'm looking at the volume of cases that you have, and the fact that they're spread out over a number of courts within LA County. If there's any way, you don't have to do this, but if there's any way for you to afford an attorney to take care of these for you, I suggest you contact an attorney who knows his way around the traffic court buildings and the criminal court buildings, and take care of it that way. That's my suggestion.
And by the way, there's a number of attorneys that just do traffic tickets. They do a good job. They're in the traffic court all the time. Just go on Google and put traffic tickets and find the jurisdiction or some attorney who specializes in traffic, and there are a lot of them. I mean, you see their signs all over Southern California on billboards, on benches. You can call the San Fernando Bar Association, get a referral. But just go on to Google. You can find it. Hire one of these lawyers that do it all the time, and go down and see him or her and get a plan to get it worked out. Because at this point, at sometime you're going to get picked up, and
they're going to keep you.
They're going to keep you, especially if the car.
And it could be a Friday afternoon, and they're going to keep you till Monday.
Especially if the car is not registered. Is the car registered now?
yes, it is registered, but it's like I know that I'm playing with fire. It's like
You
can't
are.
like it just doesn't work this way. But I'm just trying to figure out where to start.
Well, start now.
Danielle, I've got to tell you, when I was a child in my 20s, I was a criminal prosecutor, and Monday morning, in the box where they keep prisoners, there would be some really nice people who, for reasons that I couldn't figure out, sometime on Friday, they got picked up. They had traffic warrants outstanding for them, just the same situation that you've got, and I'm seeing them Monday morning. They just had the worst weekend of their life. So
Well,
if you could possibly take care of this quickly, I suggest you do.
Get to a lawyer, find out exactly what's out there, and then make a plan with a lawyer to try and get it cleaned up.
And one more thing. After 5 o'clock, when the show's over, call 1-800-405-4222. Give them your contact information so that we can get you a gift certificate for dinner for two, maybe within walking distance of where your house is, or maybe somebody else could drive you.
But don't.
Okay, thank you.
Don't drive to traffic court.
And don't do that either. All right, take care.
Okay.
Thanks for calling Legal Help Live.
All right.
1-800-405-4222. This is an absolute nightmare. It's a nightmare that people...
I wasn't kidding. Monday morning, we'd find people in the custody box who were picked up on Friday.
People get themselves into this situation, and they don't do anything about it. It gets worse and worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
And
it's resolvable.
It is resolvable.
She can take care of it. They can take care of it.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to Rudy. Rudy from Southern California. Come on the line. We'd be glad to have you in Legal Help Live.
Hello?
Hello?
What part of LA are you calling from, Rudy?
It's East Los Angeles near Monterey Park.
Oh, okay. If you can give us the best restaurant in your area, we'll be glad to answer your question.
That's really no problem. I have transportation.
Okay. All right.
All right, good.
Okay.
So what's up, Rudy?
Okay, I had called you gentlemen before about, I believe it was about a year ago. I have two nephews in the Department of Children's Services system, and this is what's going on. Okay. They first of all, I was appalled that there's a 16-page pamphlet of your rights, and they don't give those pamphlets out to anybody. I've been passing them out to people because everyone tells me, no, I never knew about those rights, so I'm doing that now because I have kind of a bone to pick with them. But let me give you my story real quick. What happened was the grandmother of one of my nephews, they have different fathers. She had no interest in the child at first. We were raising them, both of them we raised since infants, me and my family. And she wanted a DNA test because she said that my niece was just after her family for money for the child, but that wasn't the case. Anyway, we went ahead and had the DNA test, and then when she found out that it was her grandchild, all of a sudden she did an about face, and, I got to rescue my grandchild from this terrible family and all that. And she cried and filed all kinds of complaints with the Children's Services and all that, and she got them all riled up. And what ended up happening, they came to the house and took them.
No, you're not the
year.
You're not the parents?
No, I'm one of the uncles.
You're the uncle, okay.
Yes, but the boys are very attached to me. Every time we visit them, they keep asking us, when are we coming back home, Uncle Rudy? When are we coming back home? And I go, I'm doing my best, kids, to get you back. Just be patient.
Rudy, where are they now?
What happened is we had a meeting over there at their office, which was more like a Star Chamber court. We couldn't complain about the way we've been treated. We couldn't complain about anything that happened in the past. And they were basically, we're going to tell you what's happening. We're going to tell you the way it's going to be.
Rudy, don't you have a lawyer?
It's a closed system. A lawyer really can't help you.
Well, that's not true. No. That's not true.
Because they won't allow them into the courtroom.
Rudy, there's a whole panel of lawyers that get appointed. One for the children, one for the parents.
Yes.
You can get a private lawyer that's involved in this kind of system and that can help you and help you guide you through this system. And it sounds like you've been going through it. You still don't have the children. I think it's time to get a consultation with someone that's on that panel. Who's on that panel is public information. They're all lawyers who serve on this panel. They're all competent and qualified. You can get a list of names and find yourself an attorney. You may well have to pay for it, but someone to guide you through this system. It is fairly complicated. It's not easy. The system is, quote, set up to protect the children. But at this point, it sounds like you were exactly where you were a year ago.
Rudy, it's
no more than that. But more. This is already starting its third year, and we're back right back to the beginning.
What you just said.
What's happening is they keep flexing their legal muscles to delay the case.
Rudy,
every time they come up with different reasons. 3 months later.
What you're saying.
It's
Rudy.
obvious that they're trying to get the grandmother to bond with my nephew. But
Rudy.
He doesn't. He keeps saying that he wants to come home. He wants to come home. You know,
Rudy.
He buys him gifts and everything and tries to bribe him.
Let's do
but
it
he
this
won't
way.
go for it. He keeps saying he wants to come home.
Rudy?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I understand your pain. I don't know what's in the best interest for the children. You need to find yourself an advocate to help you, or you can continue in this process. I mean, that's really all we can do for you. I think that's the solution to your problem. If you don't want to follow it, that's up to you. But that's where I would point you to.
You know, Rudy,
About,
everything you're
the Alliance for Children's Rights. Are you familiar with them?
Yes.
Rudy,
Uh-huh.
everything you're saying is further argument to what my partner's trying to tell you to do. The fact that you've been doing this for 3 years, the fact that you're being herded through a system that doesn't listen to you, the fact that you think that the County of Los Angeles is trying to get your kids to be alienated from you and bonded to somebody else, all of these things are arguments as to why you should get legal counsel. Someone who can address your concerns and express your interest and your sincerity to the system. Because right now, you may be very sincere, but you're not able to express it to the system. And that's what you need. You need counsel. You need an attorney.
Okay, and the other potential solution, and then we're going to go on to our next caller, Rudy, is you're very sophisticated. Go on to Google News and find what reporter in Southern California is doing stories on the agency. And then if you have certain information, share that. And maybe you can get the fourth branch of government, the press, to be involved, and that sometimes helps. So those are our suggestions. We wish you the best of luck, and thanks for calling Legal Help Live. And
all right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thanks a lot for calling Legal Help Live. Rudy, don't forget, after 5 o'clock, call 1-800-405-4222. Leave your contact information so that we could get you that gift certificate for two at a restaurant of our choosing. We can get another call in before we leave. Let's do that. Amy, come on in and talk to us.
Amy from Los Angeles.
Ami.
Tommy.
How are you?
Ami, how are you?
You're on the air. You're on the air with Ralph and Steve on Legal Help Live.
We hear you.
I'm fine. How are you?
Fine.
Very, very well.
I'm calling because I'm a renter in the city of Los Angeles, and my tenants and I have been calling several times to the housing department trying to get our landlord to fix all the deficiencies, and they do it, but they don't do a complete job, so they just do it like a Band-Aid job on it. And I wanted to know if there's another department.
You have to turn off your TV, please.
What we need to do.
There you go.
Somewhere where we could get the city involved to see if she's deemed a good landlord, or they take possession of it, because
what
she's a
part?
slumlord.
What part of Los Angeles do you live in?
I would say the Adams district.
Okay. What you need to do is find out who your city council person is.
Okay, I know that.
Okay. Who's your city council person?
Herb Weston.
Okay. They have a large office and a large staff, and they're very helpful in terms of turning. If you've got complaints, you get 4 or 5 people together. You make an appointment to go see the assistant to the council person. You go down and explain the problem, and you let the city council office get involved with the various agencies in the city.
Ami, how many tenants are there who are in your situation?
And a total of 12.
Okay.
And they're all in this situation?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's 12.
City council members know how to count.
Okay.
And if you bring in all 12, they'll listen to you more carefully and more clearly than if you go by yourself.
And then if
there is strength in numbers, as
and then
they
if
say.
there are 12 of you that have 200 Facebook friends who are all in the general area, you're not talking about just 12 people. you're talking about 12 people times 200 people.
Now you're talking about an election.
That is a lot of people.
Correct.
That
And that's the problem I've been running into, dealing with, I guess in this area, a lot of people don't use their avenues of exhausting their city council members. And the housing department is just overwhelmed, and they'll just come and give her a fine to fix it, but they don't make sure that it's fixed right, and then it'll break the next month. It's just ridiculous.
Well, I would start at the councilman's office. They've got a great staff. They are, there to serve you. The beautiful part about it is that the council person gets reelected from the community. You are in the community. You've got enough people, and with all the social media stuff today, a good council person wants people supporting him or her. You may get some great assistance. That's where I would start.
Okay.
And I would get your people to come with you at the meeting at the council person's office.
And Ami, if you can't get the other tenants to go with you, physically, personally to go with you, then at least get them to write a letter to the council person with a copy to you expressing what all the problems are.
And by the way, they can't legally throw you out for complaining.
Well, that's her threat. That's why they're all scared.
They
that's
can't.
her threat.
They can't,
if you don't like it, just leave.
Well, they can't legally throw you out, and if they attempt to do it for you exercising your First Amendment right to petition for regress of government, you'll find a good personal injury lawyer that may end up, you 12 may end up owning the building because of wrongful types of eviction.
Yeah,
so,
but Ami, if you end up owning the building, you have to keep it up.
Most definitely. What I think that she's doing also, I wanted to see if there's any legal ground with this, that some of us are, of course, in LA, the rent is really high, but we've been here for so long, we pay a really low rent. So what I think that she's doing to us, including me, she won't fix the deficiencies because she was trying to push us out to move someone else into double the rent.
Got another call for you.
Slum landlords.
Got another place for you to call. Call the Rent Stabilization Board in the City of Los Angeles. They hate hearing stories like this, but they love doing something about it when they do.
And Ami, call us after 5 at that number and leave your information. We'll send you a dinner or lunch tickets for a restaurant of our choice. We got to go now because
time.
Thank you so very much. Appreciate you guys.
Okay, you guys be great. You be great.
Okay, bye-bye.
Time to go.
Interesting show. A lot of great
Very
callers out
interesting
there.
show.
We appreciate all your calls. Keep your cards, letters, emails coming. Take a look at mybossstink.com if you have discrimination problems. You can call us anytime, and we'll try and point you in the right direction.
We'll see you next time. Don't forget, watch Cheap Eats. It's Steve and Ralph, and it's a lot of fun on the same stations.
And let's try to bring our men and women back from those wars we end safe and help.
We'll see you all next time. You all take care.